Good evening and welcome to Atlantic Television Press Roundtable here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. Of course, it is press time and it's Press Roundtable. And Press Roundtable is a gathering of media professionals, especially journalists, broadcast journalists, print and what have you. Those who are the sentinel of society, the watchdog of society. Those who interpret the reality that are trending. Of course, you know that the media is the marketplace of ideas. And so we gather here to look at some of those ideas, give them perspectives, insights, balance, vision, and what have you. Welcome again. My name is Bon Woke, and I'm here today with a great personality. I'm talking about Barrister Abraham Ikiri. Dr. Abraham Ikiri is a lawyer, is a journalist, is a public relations expert. Everything put together is more or less a journalist. That's why he's here. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now let's look at some of the headlines. I hope, okay. Presidential election tribunal to deliver judgment tomorrow. And from the state, Rivers State, comes the report that police arrested 4 police officers for extortion. NANS plans to storm Unilag, dares DSS. Labour gets set to shut down the economy. FGM plans expansion of social register. And on port rehabilitation, Federal is engaging terminal operators on $800 million port rehabilitation. Well, you can watch us live on our various social media platforms, atlantictelevision.tv, on our mobile app, ATN Live, on YouTube and Facebook, Atlantic Television Network. Joining me, I've told you, is Dr. Abraham Ikiri, a journalist. Well, remember, it is Press Roundtable Live on all the social media platforms. I'm sure you're joining us. Join us right now if you have not. We're going to short break, and when we come back, we hit the road looking at some of the stories that trended. Don't go away. Welcome back, and if you just joined us, you are watching Press Roundtable live on Atlantic Television Network here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. Now to our stories. The Presidential Election Petition Court will tomorrow deliver judgment on the outcome of the presidential election of February 25, 2023. This was confirmed yesterday morning by the Chief Registrar of the Court of Appeal, Mr. Omar Bangari, called at a 5-member panel of the Presidential Election Petition Court, led by Justice Haruna Samani, had on the August 1st announced that the date for judgment in the 2 petitions will be communicated to parties. Shortly after all parties adopted their final written addresses for and against the petitions. Besides the petitions of Article B, the Presidential Tribunal will also deliver judgment in the petition by Allied People's Movement, APM, seeking the disqualification of Tinubu from the February 25 presidential election on account of alleged unlawful nomination of the vice presidential candidate, Senator Kashim Shettima. The die is cast.
Yes.
Go ahead. You're welcome from the NBA.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure it was good.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Fine.
Did you have anything to discuss about the press?
It's always all round.
All round.
The press issues we are
also handled.
Yes.
Okay, let's look at this story. The die is cast, a lot of people are expecting too high. And I've always said on this program that it is important that Nigerians see the judiciary as a dispassionate arm of government that will not do the billings of individuals The judiciary does not deal with sentiments of people. It is not an Akarasela association. It is not road safety, motor park and all that. Some of the impressions and the ideas we have in our various primordial gatherings may not be what the judiciary is seeing. What judiciary sees is what comes before it, because the judiciary was not there at the polling units. They were not there at the transmission of results and all that. So Nigerians should have expectations that are within the confines of the capacity and capabilities of the judiciary and within the laws governing the operations and the ethics of their profession. It is what the lawyer drops on the table, the aspirant prosecutor, that the judiciary, adjudicates on. But Nigerians don't want to know.
It is so sad, very, very sad.
Yes.
Anyway, at this stage, we are not expected to comment so much because you don't like
subjudice.
Yes, to rope yourself in such this thing. But unfortunately, I must have to align myself with the learned silk, Femi Falana, that who has been having election tribunals since 1999. But this one seems to be different. People have different expectation. That is, they don't even want to hear that election tribunal is sui generis. It is something different on its own from what you used to have in the normal court proceedings. Now, you will hear so many intimidatory sentiments. In fact, at the time, the federal government was reluctantly compelled to pull down some billboards. People took to intimidating the judiciary, people's attention on the judiciary. What is that? And at the time, even a retired Supreme Court judge, a justice of the Supreme Court, was inordinately accused of working or writing judgment. I don't know. The judiciary has been so intimidated, bullied, and all that, wanting them to dance to their tune. But we believe that the learned justices of the appeal court will deliver judgment as it is. The tone it has taken is very pathetic. This morning we got a report that somebody who was invited to a television station to make analysis after he was attacked. What kind of country we are? Every person, my advice is that at this stage, we are usually very neutral. At this stage, there are so many things to learn from. When we are at that level in the past, you learn correct reasoning. At this point, what they are dealing with is inductive and deductive reasoning. You can learn English language. You can learn how ideas are joined together. And you can learn from past, because the judgment will draw from past, present, and we set agenda for the future. So I will beg Nigerians to mellow down and also see that after tomorrow, no matter what the judgment will be, there is still another opportunity for appeal. For the presidential, it is the Court of Appeal that is handling as a tribunal. That is why they are 5 in number. Then when they will go to the Supreme Court, 7 justices of the Supreme Court will sit. Out of the 21, the minimum is 7, although there are vacancies yet to be filled. And so they will also have opportunities So they should not, some are even trying to bring the judgment that will be delivered tomorrow. Now. And so if it is not like that, as he has said, they have taken bribe and all that.
And the funny thing is that the election will have the winner, the second runner, first runner-up and second runner-up.
Yes.
Now the third person wants to be the winner. The second person wants to be winner. But all that are left with the court.
3 judgments will be given tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
3 judgments will be given tomorrow.
Yes.
In the past.
We used to have just 2.
Yes, in the past,
the
judgment will be in summary form. In the past, it is usually in summary form. The salient points are always given.
Yeah.
Then the full judgment, explanations and reasons will be given
later
in due course. That is what it is usually done. Then one thing, the intriguing question that observers are giving is that in the statement of the registrar of the appeal court,
yes,
he said the judgment will be televised. And from the beginning of the sitting of the tribunal, applicants from the plaintiffs applied that the judgment should be televised. The court said no, drawing inference from previous, not even judgment, from previous precedents.
Yes, yeah.
I don't understand. But today, in their wisdom, they said in the judgment, the television will be used. Meanwhile, the appeal court has asked their workers not to come to co-work.
That's I'm wondering. Are they not contributing in this tension? Are they not contributing in this tension?
That they should not come to work. Some people have said NLC is holding their decision today and tomorrow.
That will be the next story.
Yes. Today and tomorrow, at a time judgment to be given. The president has already traveled out to India with some millionaires in the name of G20. And putting all these things together, they are afraid whether they are expecting the unexpectable to happen. But however as it is, heaven will not fall. It is usually as it used to be. We will hear from them, and Nigeria will continue to exist.
Well, very interesting. I think that we're creating unnecessary tension. And that's why Nigeria is a very difficult place to govern. And begin to wonder why these things are happening the way they're happening. It's preposterous. Now let's look at the next story. It's a Rivers State story. The Rivers State Police Command has arrested 4 operatives who allegedly assaulted 3 men and extorted 6.5 million from them. The policemen were said to have arrested the men from Omoluwabi in the Obeibema Ndoni local government area of the state, tagged them internet fraudsters, and ferried them to Delta State, where they reportedly collected the money from them after detaining them for 2 days. It was learned that the Corps arrested the men on July 31st, 2023, and released them on August 1st, 2023. State Commissioner of Police Emeka Wonyi, while parading the policemen before journalists in Port Harcourt on Monday, said he was working hard to rid the command of bad eggs. Wonyi said, unquote, "You can see some police officers. They have been in detention for more than 2 weeks now for an offense. They are not from this command, but we arrested them to show that we are here to purge ourselves." Very interesting story. I thought we have come out of the era of arresting young men with laptops and dada hair and branding them Yahoo and internet fraudsters and all that. I thought we have gone out, and that was part of what led to the anti-SARS protests in this country. Because innovative young Nigerians were being harassed and harangued and bundled into cell and some of them died. Nobody came to release them. Now we are seeing people ferociously, on their own hidden corner, committing the same heinous crime and extorting money from innocent people.
In fact, first of all, to be very frank, I must commend the present Commissioner of Police in Rivers State. These are the small indicators of how serious and efficient an officer can be. These things happened in the past, and somebody will turn a blind eye to such complaint. But we are happy that some of them are being caught in the crime. However, I will encourage him not to rest on his oars, because what is happening is only a tip of the iceberg. Yeah. In one occasion I had stated here that the impression created outside Rivers State by all facets of people who are not from here is that if you come to Rivers State and just scratch the ground, money will come. If not, how can somebody who is not working in Rivers State will leave his beat from another state to come and arrest, intimidate, extort money? It is worrisome. Where they were arrested in Port Harcourt, but I don't know what is Omoluabi. There is no. There is no community.
Like in the Orashi region.
Yeah, there is no community in Rivers, especially on Edgar. I don't know. That thing, I think I invite the journalists to go and search for a new community in Onelga that is called Moluabi. No, they were arrested from Onelga and taken to Delta with impunity. No record. We have similar case in Lagos. An assistant to a senator was arrested from somewhere in Ojota under suspicion and taken to another side, satellite area of Lagos, extracted what the gentleman had in his possession and killed him. But not knowing that somebody who was with them.
So these young men were lucky.
They are lucky.
That they were not killed.
Yes. They are lucky. These people, the gentleman who was running before them, took a view of what was happening and was able to report out. So that you will see those who are not supposed to serve in our forces are there. Therefore, the police should begin to check, even from the time of recruitment, who they are recruiting into the force. What we have presently is all manner of recommendation letter. So if you just say somebody will just recommend, please, this is not to me, take him. Meanwhile, those who are seriously looking for opportunity to be recruited and who are effective and efficient are not given that opportunity. So that our forces are filled with all manner of people who are capable of doing so many wrong things. As we are talking of the police, so we are talking of the Navy concerning oil theft and other parts of the military regimes. I don't understand. So the issue in Rivers State is that as the commissioner is trying, beaming the searchlight.
Not only on criminals, even among
themselves. Because the criminals, at a time here, there was a time in Rivers State where even criminals will take advice from members of the force.
Yeah.
And say, oh, we have gone there, everything is okay, you can go and operate. And so when they call the police, something is happening here, they will begin to ask you, what kind of gun are they carrying? Is it red or white? Is it this, is that? and they will not come. When they are sure that the people have gone, they will now come, hey, where are they, where are they?
We've had that in Benin, in Old Bender State.
Yes.
Where you had Iyamu, who was aiding and abetting criminal activities, the Anene and all that. We see all those elements in the police.
Yes, there's
and I'm happy that the man said, while they are combating criminal activities in the state, they also look inwards to stem the tide of betrayal and sellout by their own people.
Yes.
And that's an interesting narrative.
Yes.
Now, the National Association of Nigerian Students has warned the Department of State Services not to deter students from exercising their rights to protest, saying this is a universally recognized human right. National Public Relations Officer of the Union, Giwa Temitope, was reacting to the statement made by DSS that some politicians were mobilizing student leaders for violent protests against the federal government over socioeconomic matters. Intelligence reports have indicated that the plotters include certain politicians who are desperately mobilizing unsuspecting student leaders, ethnic-based associations, youth, and disgruntled groups for the planned action. The spokesperson for the security agency, Peter Afunaya, stated on Monday, backing the move. NANS PRO in a statement on Tuesday said the student body would be storming Unilag for the protest and urged the DSS not to infringe on the rights of students. Well, this generally is part of what is going to be part of the NLC whatever. We're going to get the NLC story in detail. But students getting involved in a protest like this is labor. Labor doesn't join students when they are protesting. And students now want to join labor in the protest. It becomes some kind of, what's your take on this?
Well, first of all, I am worried. Those days when we were students, when we say we are going out to protest, we come out of the campuses to register our protest outside. But this one, they are coming from outside to an institution, Unilag. What is the symbol?
What is the symbol? Is Unilag the streets of Nigeria?
Nigeria is Unilag, and the students have not stated their reasons for going on protest. In fact, there was a seminar I attended at Lagos, or in Lagos, and I was able to see one of the presidents of NANS, whom I call the last of the prophets, Olusegun Mayegun. He had the perception that the student community had become so...
Dr. Shege.
Yes.
Shege of those days.
Yes. That they have become so toothless, so corrupt, that he will convey a meeting to ask the present students
leaders
to drop the name NANS because they are spoiling it.
No, but it was NANS before. That was a great NANS.
Yes.
And then since NANS metamorphosed into NANS, it has become...
Now, when the people who are serious about student activism and unionism
Shegun Okewo.
Yes. Shegun Okewo.
Of NANS.
Yes.
Of NAN, N-U-N.
So you see that people now are using the name and using past glory to now begin to look for money. They don't even read. You see them, if you don't see them in one campus or company or in government offices asking for one or two things, they are either begging government, like this one, students are paying government, they are taking 100 naira within campus to bring a car, as if the boss, if given, we run on water or what.
Now, do you think that the DSS and the security operators will be able to stem any tide of untoward activity by some Nigerians who are inciting public dissent? Can they stop it?
It has always been in the character of DSS.
Okay.
Right from origin.
To raise alarm?
Yes. Even if it is mere peaceful protest, they will say it will be this, it will be that. I recall that...
maybe to preempt.
I recall that when I was the president of the student union, we wanted to go out for rag day, ordinary rag day. And we wrote to them as stipulated, we should inform them. We wrote to them. Now, in reply, they say they have already spotted that hoodlums will hijack it and just stop that thing. And stop.
Another day.
Yes, and stop students from their happiness. Now, you recall, early last year, when there was no fuel anywhere, they were affected. They raised the alarm. That is DSS. That yes, they raised the alarm that they don't have fuel and all that, and gave marketers and NNPC an ultimatum. We knew what went after that ultimatum. Now that they are receiving their fuel now regularly, maybe even free, they've become angels. Now looking at those who also want to make their own case to become devil against the state. It's not supposed to be. They should be objective. Protests, peaceful protests, peaceable assembly is recognized not only at our national level, but at international level. So it is to express, in fact, a philosopher said, it is good to express your grievances than to bottle it.
Exactly.
When it is bottled, it will explode. And when explosion happens, it does not come peacefully. Damages will be recorded.
It's like Mama Baraka wrote a poem called Dream the Fed and all that. So
yes.
When dream is a fed, does it explode? Does it smell like a rotting egg?
Yes.
Over time, that's what happens.
Yes.
Okay,
so that in cases like this,
yes.
even the best they can do, like now, it is clear that our universities are producing conformists and not activists or critical thinkers.
Okay. Docile. You're saying they're docile?
Yes, they are very docile.
Okay.
So it is to encourage them. Yes, you're on the right. When something pinches you, if a mosquito is biting you, you must make effort to stop it. Or either kill it or pursue it.
Yeah.
And that is what is happening. The economy is so bad, very bad. People are withdrawing from the schools. People are presently withdrawing from various schools because the high cost.
That could be why NANS wants to join the protest.
Yes.
Now, if they do join the protest, but not to go into a campus to incite.
Incite, yes.
And they are saying, well, DSS doesn't seem to allow unilateral students to come out. So it's not saying, okay, they will go and support their colleagues and dare them. Well, that's another story. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with the second segment as the next half of this 1 hour program. Remember, it's Atlantic Television Press Roundtable, which comes your way Monday to Friday, 7 to 8 every day. Don't get away. Stay tuned.
The ocean, to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
You're welcome back. It is still Atlantic Television Press Roundtable here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. You're welcome back. And we'll continue with the second segment. And there's a lot of stories. We'll start with the NLC in details. Labour gets set to shut down the economy. How are they doing that? Nigerian Labour Congress has vowed to ground the economy as it says the stage is set for a 2-day nationwide warning strike. This move has garnered widespread support from key stakeholders, including the banking sector, civil society organizations, and workers' union, as they unite to address the growing economic crisis in the country. National Union of Bankers, Insurance and Financial Institutions, employees, the umbrella organization representing workers in banking and insurance industry on Monday vowed to take part in the strike, effectively shutting down financial activities across Nigeria. Statement signed by General Secretary of Nubife, Mr. Mohammed Sheikh, underscored the importance of their participation in the 2-day warning strike by the NLC, citing the need to draw the government's attention to their economic situation faced by Nigerians. The leadership of Nubife has issued a notice that all banks will be shut down on Tuesday, 5th, that's today, and tomorrow, Wednesday, September 2023, in line with the NLC 2-day strike directive. Now look at this. It's not as beautiful as it sounded. Well, the insurance and bank, Nubife and all that, joining the strike. That impact has been dislocated by the withdrawal of TUC from the strike. I know the TUC is the elitist class.
Yes, the
senior staff, formed in 2005 or 2006 in August, to some kind of who then set themselves apart. Because when you look at the NLC at that time, it was a kind of an anomic organization where you have all manner of persons, motopark, and different kinds of persons. So they wanted to be different. And that elitism is still there. Most times they work at cross purposes. When they were registered in 2005, it was obvious that that was to dilute. People were, afraid that the registration of TUC will dilute and diffuse the effectiveness of NLC. So sometimes one will blame NLC for not being what they used to be during Pascal Bafiao's time, Imodu, even recently, Adam Oshomole.
Yes.
It is because of what happened in 2005. The same thing is happening to ASU, where
it has been balkanized.
So this kind of balkanization is what I know that they used to have. They are supposed to be affiliates, but this is an elitist affiliate. And what's their reason for backing out? They said they have not exhausted consultation with government, and that it's premature now to go on strike until they exhaust all manner of consultation.
They participated when it was planned.
Yes.
They participated in the resolution signed when they gave the notice. Their signatures were there. Why would they back out at the last minute? That is the problem of labor. Yeah. People give threat, but when they see the other side, they withdraw. And tomorrow the same person will come to complain. There should be unity in labor. Because the circumstance now has given the responsibility of protecting or assuming the conscience of the society to labor. Before, it used to be students and market women. That time there was no phone. You recall when that morning when Babangida made a broadcast and imposed SAP on the nation. That time there was no phone, no mobile GSM and all that. Students went out after the broadcast from all sides, responded spontaneously. By 4 o'clock, Augustus Aikomu, the then
Vice President.
Yes.
First military Vice President.
Yes. Came and also he did his broadcast, diluting, taking decisions, announcing decisions that diluted the fierce, severe measures announced by Babangida in the morning. That was how it was. We don't need to consult NSC. NSC has just come in to moderate the vent. I mean, making people not to vent, pour their angers. If not, how can LLC? After all, when things are done, it's for labor. Who accounts for the millions of unemployed or privately employed people who are not part of NLC and TUC? So, however, I think by now we should be evaluating, because the thing started this morning. What has happened in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, yes, at my 2 area, pictures that came in said, we saw smoke. Then we also saw reports that tanker drivers joined, and they were at loggerhead with security group, and one of them was shot, and I don't know the situation now in Lagos. And as usual, why many people were in support of NLC, some other groups of people were against NLC. So the 2 groups clashed at various points in Lagos. We don't know what has happened in other states, whether they are waiting for tomorrow. But for the banks, I don't think it has been severe. POS still dispensing cash.
Yes, it is.
And I am sure that the various
ATMs will be loaded.
Yes. And
there may be skeletal services by senior staff now that TUC is out.
But it is all for good. Here in Port Harcourt, the road is still very busy.
Very busy. But
as I was coming,
even though I heard in Abuja, there's a news report that some offices were closed and all that.
As I was coming, I saw traffic hold up somewhere else and all that. I know we are a conservative state. So
no, we are not conservative. We are a very busy state.
Very called that busy. So that is it. The thing that next time, Labour, if they are out to fight for the interest of the masses, it must have to be analyzed. It must have to be placed before those for whom the action is to benefit.
Because I know that Labour Aremu, my friend, used to be director of research.
Yes.
He was
Michael Imodu.
During these other sets of the 80s, you know, he was graduated with us in Uniport. I remember he used to be in charge of he's the deputy president of NLC.
NLC. And he's now a director in Michael Imodu Institute of Labour.
Exactly.
In Kwara State.
Exactly. And that Institute of Labour is there to do research.
Yes.
And that's so the Labour must always argue from point of view of knowledge.
Yes.
And this point of view of knowledge should be taken beyond just, the flash of the pan decisions.
Yes.
They should be able to actually research, interrogate their research, feed the pulse of the people, engage government on those issues regularly before they can now come out to say government has failed. Because Labour should not be preemptive. Some kind of, would I say that? They look at government from reactive, yes, that's the word. Look at what government is doing and simply pounce to find fault and all that. I think that's
kind
not
of
the kind of
observation. That is a kind of the Labour said while they were still meeting, the National Assembly members were giving some amount of money
to some of them.
Yes, at the Senate level, the Senate president called 2 million naira as token.
Okay.
As token. Then they are looking at the possibility of buying armored car for them.
Those are flames. Those are not. No reason for which Labour should go on strike.
And even as they were still talking, government is delaying and all that.
I even heard Labour saying part of the reason why they're going on strike is the pronouncement by Wike, FCD minister, that he was going to demolish the buildings of workers. Those are kind of exaggerated impressions.
That kind of thing. So during our time, we are guided by the principle of power of superior argument.
That's the point.
when you go to negotiate, you make your point. And if the other side sees superiority in that argument, they yield.
Exactly.
And if we see also sense in their argument, we yield.
Yeah.
Power of superior argument. And I don't know, you can only do that when you are vast in knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah.
And all that.
And that's why it should be a knowledge-driven organization.
Yes.
That should be the fourth eye, the fourth arm of government, as it were. You have the three arms. You have the press.
The fourth estate.
The fourth estate. So Labour should be the fifth.
Yes. So by this time, people go in for the looker of the office.
Exactly.
What the when you look, I used to hear some Labour officers, Luko, it remains 6 months, so, and I have not done anything. I have not built my house. I have not bought a car.
So that's why in Labour. Labour should be a progressive
thing.
Organization.
That is why
that stands to protect the interests of the masses.
That is why there is a kind of despondency.
Yes.
Now amongst people like Aremu you have mentioned, and all those who fought selflessly.
Exactly, progressive minds.
Yes.
I think that Labour got it wrong when they endorsed a political party. Just because it had that brand, Labour Party. That's why they got it. And that's why Nigerians will not trust whatever they say.
In fact,
because they are not very political.
Yes. No, though it wouldn't have been bad, because from history,
we've had revolutionary...
Yes, we have Labour parties owned by Labour. This time, before now, they've been fighting. When they fight, some people will enter to enjoy.
Yeah.
But now, they say, let them have their party. Unfortunately, they are not owning the party.
They're not owning the party. They're just sympathetic.
They made it just an opportunity instrument for people who don't have influence in their various organizations to come and hijack.
And that's why nobody can trust them.
Yes.
It is not their party, but it's simply aligned to that party. And so they have the sentiment of obedience.
Yes.
Let's take the next story. FG plans expansion of social register. Federal government has revealed plans to include families of wounded and fallen soldiers in the National Social Register and ease poverty alleviation programs. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Bete Edu, made this known during a meeting with the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, on Monday in Abuja. She said, "We want to expand our social register to accommodate military personnel that have either been wounded or affected by war. Even soldiers have left their families behind." The minister said she was at the defense headquarters to solicit the support of Nigerian military to tackle humanitarian crisis across the country. Yes, the military is involved in tackling humanitarian crisis because they are the line of war, battles and all that. And talking about expanding social register, should the ministry have left any group of persons? Should they have left any group of persons?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Or was he just talking at the spur of the moment?
I think so, because she may not have understood the responsibility of that ministry.
Okay.
Now, entering into that ministry, she is supposed to take a post-impact assessment of previous programs of that ministry.
Yeah.
Was it not that ministry during the COVID period that came that people were fed when we are all locked down at home? Is it the kind of thing you want to continue? Or the 2,500 or the 5,000 or 5,000 that they will send have gotten a lot and this, and we don't see the impact. Indiscriminately.
I didn't see anybody who got that.
I didn't
know anybody.
And yet, they will come and quote millions of naira that has been spent.
Yes.
And yet, when the National Bureau of Statistics releases its data, you hear that more than 160 million Nigerians are in multidimensional poverty. And yet, they've been quoting money. I mean, a figure.
So if you are having a social register, it should reflect of that population. More than 50 million.
So who keeps the register?
So why talk about 47 million?
Who keeps the register in the first place?
Exactly.
How was
the register compiled?
How did they get the information?
The statistics.
And all that. So
did they just see people in IDP camps?
Humanitarianism goes beyond what they are doing. In fact, it is usually pre, not post, in what I have seen in other places. It is usually pre, before events happen that will cause humanitarian crisis. They make people know. They make people get ready. They make people be active. So that these people are merely producing parasites who look up to government for everything. And when government stops, they slump. That is not the idea of humanitarian ministry. They should be able to build strong, independent, and self-reliant people. People who will tell you, for example, you recall that time that the wife of a president, I won't mention the name, visited some European countries. And when they visited some orphanages, as usual, they doled out foreign currencies to donate. The home said, no, we will not take, because it is not in our listing. If you want to make donation to us, go to the Foreign Affairs Ministry, donate it there, and if they see any reason for them to receive it, they can bring it to us. But we don't take. You can't see that in Nigeria here. You can't. That is building self-reliant, independent institutions and persons. Persons who are not opening their mouth to receiving any donation.
Let's get this last story. Federal government is engaging terminal operators on 800 million naira port rehabilitation. Federal government has said it will engage in terminal operators for the rehabilitation of Apapa, Tinkan, and other ports valued at $800 million. The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, very new one, Ademoyoga Oyotola, said this on Monday during a familiarization visit to Apapa and Tinkan Island ports by Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Amebelo Koko, and his management team. Some of the terminals visited are AP Mula Terminal, ENI, Dangote, Granville, Development Nigeria Limited, ABTL, and NPA Dockyard, Joseph Farm Ports and Terminal Multipurpose Limited, Port Harcourt Airport and Terminal Multipurpose Limited, among others. However, reacting to this, Oyotola said the port was almost collapsing, adding that the reconstruction would commence soon. The port, unquote, is almost collapsing. A major rehabilitation has to be carried out, and that is perhaps the major thing. I'm looking forward to a situation whereby the terminal managers will be willing to contribute towards the rehabilitation of the ports. It is important. If you do that, you are going to make more money.
Why not? Let it collapse. It has not collapsed yet.
Yes.
It will collapse. When you overburden Lagos,
that's it.
Tinkan and Apapa, why One ports, our 3 ports here, are lying vacant. People are begging for work. They have space to receive most of those ships you see at Lagos, but they will not.
And infrastructure is overstretched.
Yeah. So why wouldn't it collapse? Maybe when it collapsed to make world news headline, that is when they will realize that there are ports that they developed that are laying fallow, unutilized, that are begging for them to bring in more from Lagos so that Lagos will breathe. Now it is suffocating. And for a new minister who just went, oh, it has collapsed. Perhaps let him be told that there are ports that this thing should go to. And if they send some things to Port Harcourt, send some to Warri. There is a port in Warri.
In Calabar.
There is a port in Calabar. Lagos will not collapse.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we'll draw the line there. That's the much we can take today on Atlantic Television Press Roundtable. They should decentralize the activities of ports in Nigeria. It shouldn't just be one port and being overstretched. And that's the much we can take. Like I said, Press Roundtable welcomes to you live 7 to 8 p.m. every day, Monday to Friday. Well, you of course, you're supposed to be joining us on the various social media platforms. And remember to connect on ATM Socials follow like page on Twitter, Atlantic Net, Facebook, and YouTube. Atlantic Television Network, Instagram, and TikTok. Atlantic Television Network 1. Also watch us live on our website, atlantictelevision.tv, on our app, ATN Live, on YouTube and Facebook. Atlantic Television Network, ATN Press Roundtable. We provide the right narrative in news narration. Well, don't forget, Global News comes up at 9 p.m. And remember, as we always say on this program, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. And as I always say, make peace your watchword. Your actions, your utterances, everything you do must be a building block of peace. My name is Bon Woke. And thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
You've been very wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Stay tuned for other programs of the station, including Global News. Don't get away. We'll be right back on other programs.